Hello, my name is Rich Howard, owner of Architectural Builder Supply. This video is to bring you a closer look at the Hager number 5301-DBZ series, 5300 series door closer body only. Someone's purchased the door closer body only, obviously as a replacement for what they are working on there. That's your 5301. This is probably a very common and familiar look for a door closer for you. Okay, so this features three valves and one spring adjustment. So this is going to be, the tip-off is that it's an 01, which means it's going to be adjustable. Size 1 to 6, in fact. And we're going to take a look at the installation instructions as well. You have your latch and your sweep valves here. You have your back check valve here, and you have your spring rate adjustment there. This is going to be a very typical footprint where the center-to-center holes on the door closer will be 9 1/16. First, the overall length of the body is about 9 11/16. The center-to-center of the screw holes is what we'd like to know when you're ordering a closer, and this is 9 1/16. The overall height of the body is 1 3/4 inches, and its center-to-center on the holes is 3/4 inch. Okay. The total projection looks like it's about 2 9/16 of an inch. Okay. DBZ is dark bronze. That's what they have here. Dark bronze finish. Hager is on the body itself on both sides. Okay. Now, there is some supporting documentation down below. Let's switch to that. Installation instructions, product catalog, things of that nature. So this is the item that we're looking at. The 5301 is the body only from the 5300 series closer. Okay, adjustable 1 to 6. It's non-handed. Double heat-treated steel tempered springs. Full rack and pinion operation. Rack and pinion is a reference to, how the door closer works. There is a rack and there is a pinion, and the arm is what's connected to the pinion. As it slides, as the arm moves, the pinion rotates. The rack moves, compresses the spring. Hydraulic fluid controls that spring when it is going into the closing cycle so that the spring just doesn't forcefully push the door closed. Fluid has to move in order for that for the compressed spring to release the stored energy. Okay, dark bronze finish. A 5300 series product catalog. Let's take a look at that first. This is an overview of the entire door closer. And this is a grade 1 closer, meaning it's been tested to at least 1 million cycles. And this would serve as an overview of the entire series. So if you were looking for, a way to specify, a way to determine the part number for an entire closer, this would be the document to use. But it would also be the document to use to find just the component parts as well, such as the body only. Okay. Other common, all the available subcomponents are listed here. The full cover you can do on this. Parallel arm brackets. Arms are very common to sell as well. Arms get broken, very often. So it's nice to be able to source only that part number for the arm that you need, etc. Other accessories. Through bolts are here. Drop plates are here. They do go through the different types of mounting that you'll have on a door closer: regular arm, parallel arm, and top jam. And that would be more of a discussion, certainly, with the video that would be on an entire closer. This is a non-sized closer, which means it has an adjustable spring on it, and you can set the closer for different door sizes. Okay, from 1, which would be for a very small door, all the way up to a very large door, interior or exterior. Let's switch to the link to the installation instructions, which are also linked to down below this video. And just briefly to point this out, because these are the installation instructions for the entire closer, if you are installing this closer, you're obviously going to be replacing an existing closer, would be my guess, if you're buying only the closer body. What's important to know is that you have one end with the latch and sweep valves. You have the other end with the power adjustment shaft and back check valve. And what I'd like to point out to you is that the speed and regulating valves, okay, which are the L and the S valves, if you're doing a regular arm installation, they go towards the hinge. Okay, if you are doing a parallel arm mount installation, they are away from the hinge. Okay, if you are doing a top jam mount installation, they are towards the hinge. So be mindful. I've had, and I've done it myself. I've had, I've installed a door closer in a parallel arm fashion, and you can't push the door but an inch or two, and it just doesn't work. And you then say, well, when all else fails, read the installation instructions, and you determine that you've got the body backwards. So be mindful of which side you're putting towards the hinge. So that would be an important thing to point out to you for your project of replacing the door closer body. And then finally, you'll want to look at the way to set the valves. That's on the last page here. The S is the sweep valve, and the L is the latch valve. Sweep is, as they're showing here, from full open, well, not full open, but let's just say like from 85 degree. Well, it would be full open, is what the sweep would be, down to about 10 degree or so. The latch is only that little final latching portion of the closing cycle of the door closer, and you can control those independently. Now, back check is intended to arrest the uncontrolled aggressive opening of the door, and it kicks in at about 80 degree and is literally intended for exterior doors that swing out, where there's a potential for wind to push that door aggressively back and have it slam against the wall, damaging something dangerous to people. And you can set that aggressiveness of the arresting of the door via the back check valve. Okay, there is no delayed action on this closer. That is obviously here. Delayed action allows you to very substantially slow the door down in its closing action. However, the sweep speed also really allows you to do that. Okay, the delayed action is going to operate out further as an independent valve, because when you push the door open, you really want it to move slowly. If someone needs to move through the opening, that will need more time to get through the opening. You don't want that door banging against you. The advantage of the delayed action is it works out in this area, because if you slow down the sweep speed, you can have it take 30 seconds to close the door, and that's just not practical. So having a very slow close out in this far open range is advantageous. Then, assuming that you slow that down, the person gets through the opening, then you can have your sweep valve take over and move the door along with the latch valve to get it closed. And then finally, setting the spring adjustment is detailed here. It's going to come set from the factory for a 3-foot door, for a size 3. That would be a 3-foot door. A size 3 if you were, dealing with, a typical interior door size. You'd be at a size 3, so you wouldn't do anything there. And what they're saying here is if you wanted to increase that spring rate to a size 4 and, refer to, this chart here, that's 5 revolutions clockwise, okay? 5 revolutions counterclockwise. You will always see that you need to increase the spring rate on a parallel arm installation more than a regular or top jam mount. And that's just because of the way that the arm sits on the door closer and the fact that it's parallel, okay, versus a regular arm or a top jam arm mount, because the amount of rotation that the spindle actually goes through related to and they have this bevel drawn backwards, is substantially less. So you don't get as much movement out of the door closer pinion against its rack to compress the spring as you would in a arm mount like this. Okay, that's gonna, to get that arm moved over 90 degree, you're really gonna be moving that spindle quite a bit. So you'll increase, if you're doing a parallel arm mount, right out of the box, you'll need to increase the spring tension, most certainly. But you'll get that installed and you'll simply test it and then proceed accordingly. You can affect the placement of the arm in the shoe in 3 different locations where you can further detail the spring rate by just where you position the arm in the shoe, and it's detailed here. Okay, that's a nice diagram showing you the different valve possibilities. Latch, sweep, full open down to about 10 degree. Your delay action from 90, I had said 80, well 70, they're showing it here. Then your back check. Okay, delayed action is nice, there's no doubt. If you have a handicap opening, that would be a very good feature to have, because you want to be able to get through that opening without the door hitting you. But you want the sweep valve to be able to get the door closed without it taking half a minute or longer to do so. Okay, let's wrap up this video on camera, but before we do so, this link here to the manufacturer's page, when you click on that, it's going to open up the manufacturer's page in our site, where you can view not only all of the Hager products that we sell, but also a link to the manufacturer's website, as well as a link to the full product catalog that's here. Other encyclopedic documents are here, such as the Hager Keying Service Manual, the 2010 ADA Standards for Accessible Design. If you're installing many products from Hager, and you need to be compliant with ADA standards, thresholds, obviously where to drill a door viewer in a door, requirements in terms of closing speed for a door closer, that's all listed there for your review. Let's wrap up this video on camera. In conclusion, the name Hager is synonymous with commercial building products, some residential material too, and a very comprehensive offering. Not only are they known as their namesake Hager hinge, but they have everything for the door and frame except the door and frame itself. They can supply, obviously, their namesake Hager hinges, and lock sets, exit devices, door closers, electrified hardware, trim and auxiliary, weather stripping, Roton continuous geared aluminum hinges, accessory hardware like signage and filler plates, and they continue to expand not only their product offering, but their ability to just simply ship orders. They're currently in the process of building a major distribution center in Alabama that will be highly automated, and have an open invitation to get in to their new facility once they're finally done with it, which I will be immediately taking advantage of. Any questions on the 5301 series door closer body or any other Hager product, please feel free to reach out to us. And thank you.